So one of the biggest obstacles that holds people back in life and prevents them from ever even getting started on the things that they actually want to do in life is this idea of perfectionism. And it's actually one of the 3 root causes to procrastination. And this kind of comes back to this fear of failure, where your fear that if you don't succeed at first, or if you don't come out of the gate perfect, you're going to make a fool out of yourself, you're going to get ridiculed, you're going to get criticized, and you're just not going to stack up in society. But it couldn't be further from the truth, right? From the facts of, this is part of the process. So guys, if this is something you struggle with, like, you probably struggle with committing to things. Like, it doesn't matter, even something as simple as committing to a diet plan or a fitness plan. Like, it comes back to this fear of being perfect, right? Or of not being perfect. It comes back to this idea of perfectionism. And this holds so many people back in life. But guys, if that's you, be sure to stick around to the end of this video, because I'm going to kind of break this down for you and show you what you can do about it. I'm actually going to show you what all professional and college sports coaches do. Like, it's really simple. All of them do it. But for some reason in our life, we feel like we have to be perfect out of the gate. And honestly, I think a lot of that comes from childhood. Maybe it's the way we're educated. I'm not sure what it is. But one thing's for sure, stick around for this video and I'm going to break it down for you, and I'm going to go into some things that you can do to help get over this. So look guys, this is Chase with Energy to Conquer, and today is day 57 on my experimental journey to increasing my energy, my mental clarity, and my overall focus. This is actually my kickoff video for week 9. So look guys, if you haven't been following along, check out the channel. Look, if you feel like you don't have enough energy, or maybe you feel like you have too much energy and you can't control this up here, like, that's the purpose of this channel. Like, if what you're doing is not working energy wise, like if you feel like either you don't have enough energy to focus, or maybe you got too much energy and you need to kind of reel that in so you can focus, that's what this channel is about. Check out the channel. There's plenty of videos in here. There's a lot more where this came from. But look guys, today is about dealing with this perfectionism, this idea of perfectionism that holds so many of us back. It's held me back for so many years. This idea that if I fail, I'm going to look like a fool, like I'm going to be criticized. It's like, but eventually you got to realize this is just a big fat lie. No one starts out perfect, right? So one of the things that really, I guess, makes this, help me understand this, is this idea. I read a lot, coaches, professional coaches, and it doesn't matter, basketball, John Wooden, right? You got football, like just so many people, Vince Lombardi, you got Bear Bryant, which was the winningest coach in football history, right? So guys, like, I like to read these guys. There's so much value within these guys, and just their leadership and just the way they look at life that we can take away from. But one of the biggest ones that all these guys do, right? Like, one of the biggest things they do, and you can watch any sports, any season, but especially football. I don't watch a lot of sports. I used to watch a lot of football at one point, probably my mid to late 20s. I was watching a lot of American football, right? NFL football. And one of the biggest things that I noticed in this time is, if you start following along with these seasons, is the teams that start out the season red hot usually fizzle out by the middle of the season, right? But the teams that can't really get it together, the ones who struggle to get it together at the beginning of the season, as they start moving through the season, they start to get it together and they start to kind of unite as a team, right? And they become this powerhouse that's unstoppable. And it's usually those teams that end up winning the championship, whatever it is. But in NFL, that's the Super Bowl. They win the championship, and that's usually what happens. Like, probably 75% of the time, the team that wins the Super Bowl was not red hot in the first quarter or even the first third of the season, right? So, and that's actually the reason there's preseason games. But preseason, it's kind of screwed up, right? Because people don't give their best, and sometimes they don't put their best players in there because they don't want them to get hurt. But that's the idea behind the preseason, is so they can come in here and see what they got, right? They can start working on their teams. They can start seeing what's working and what's not. So what happens, and the reason this happens and they get better as the season goes on, these teams that do get better, is because they start to make adjustments, right? They start to see where things are not working. You know, each week they're going back and looking at the game film, they're studying the game film, they're looking at the plays, play by play for the whole game, right? And they're saying, well, this didn't work because of this. This worked because of this. This didn't work because of that, right? And so they begin to break this stuff down and they make adjustments. Same thing happens in a game. A lot of time a team comes out red hot. Usually what happens is the team that's struggling to get it together the first of the game, usually about halftime, they'll go in, they'll make adjustments, right? And they'll come out and end up winning the game. And the team that was red hot to begin with, they don't have time to make the adjustments, because by the time the team that was losing and couldn't get it together in the first half, they couldn't get it together, right? So by the time they figured out, they made their game plan, they seen what was working for the other team, so they make their adjustments at halftime, and then they come out and end up winning the game, because they show the team that was winning and dominating, they show them something different that they don't have time to make adjustment in the game, and it's usually too late for them to catch up unless they had a really big lead, right? So they don't have time to make an adjustment. So it's almost better in a lot of cases, if you watch a lot of those games, the NFL games, it's almost better to not have your stuff together in the beginning and kind of formulate that plan and get it together at halftime and come out of the second half and attack with that new plan that you've been working on putting together. Like, you've been working on these adjustments and making adjustment, making adjustment, making adjustment, so you actually get this thing dialed in at halftime, so you come out looking like a different team, and so the other team doesn't know how to respond to what you're doing, right? So now they're at the end of the game trying to make these adjustments, right? So the team that come out and everything was working, they're not making adjustments like they need to, right? Because it's working. So it's almost better when you come out of the gate to be a little behind, right? For things not to be working, because that's where you're going to get the information that you need to find out what's not working, so you can make those adjustments, right? So it all comes back to adjustments. You got to make the adjustments. And why don't we do that? Like the sports team, you ever seen a sports team say, well, we're not going to play this game because we're not quite ready yet, right? We're not sure if we're going to be ready by then. We don't know if we can make that date on the schedule. Don't put us down for that date. Of course not. That would be absurd. But that's what we do in our own life, right? Because we're afraid. Like, they know they're going to have to start imperfect. That's the reason there's a preseason. But, you know, we're not willing to start imperfect, right? We want to be perfect. Like, imperfection is something that scares us, right? We're afraid of. But guys, you've got to embrace it. Like, you've got to start being terrible, right? It's okay. No one starts out perfect. I don't care what you're doing. And actually, if you look back statistically, a lot of times it takes 10 years to become pro at anything. Right? It doesn't matter whether you're talking about public speaking, or you're talking about sports, or whatever it is, all right? Whatever your thing is, like, there's usually a 10-year process of development. So to think that you can come out at that level of perfection, right? A lot of times we don't see the people when they start, right? Especially in the social media world. We see them at the end of that 10-year period and not at the beginning, right? So we base that, oh, this is what we should look like, but it's not true. And so that's my key takeaway from all of this, guys. This is week 9. I'm kicking off. I screwed up last week, right? I screwed it up, right? It didn't work out. So this week I'm having to redo that. But you know what I had to do? I had to make the adjustments. And that's going to happen in life. It's always going to happen, right? You're always going to have adjustments to make. In my video on the process, you can look back up last week. I'm not sure, I think it was week 54, day 54. I talked about the process, right? And you're setting those weekly milestones to see if you're on track, or monthly milestones, and you're checking in weekly, like the weekly and monthly milestones, like that's what they're for, right? It doesn't matter if you succeed or fail. Thing is, that's just giving you the information you need, whether what you're doing is working or not working. So guys, you got to make those adjustments. I screwed up. I got to the end of the week, I'm like, this did not work. I should have made adjustment midweek, right? And maybe that's a lesson in itself. to start looking at some of this stuff as I'm doing it. If it's not working on Wednesday, I need to reassess and make an adjustment. It's kind of my halftime for the week, right? See how this works with the sports? See, it's my halftime adjustment, maybe about Wednesday. See how things are working, then make the adjustment. And it's really that simple, guys. We've got to be willing to do that. Come out imperfect, get the data we need to make the adjustments, because the truth is we can go and we can just like completely get this paralysis of analysis and start trying to, I guess, solve every problem before we ever have it. But the thing is, we're going to spend months and years working on solving problems that reality we're probably never going to face, right? We're trying to stay ahead of this curve that we don't even know what the curve is. So the people that usually the movers and shakers that do the most in life, that seem to always just be getting what they want, the difference between them and everyone else is they just take action. They're willing to take imperfect action. They don't care what people think, because they know the only way to get perfect, right, is to go out and fail and figure it out. That's the only way, and it's the quickest way, right? It's the quickest path from A to Z, is just go out and do it and fail. So if you have this fear of commitment and you're afraid to commit to things, like, man, you just got to go do it and you got to fail. Like, that's how you find out the adjustments that you need to make, right? If you never commit and you never start for this fear of failure, then how the hell are you going to know the adjustments that you need to make to ever be perfect? Because you don't. You know, you can spend years trying to figure this stuff out and without actually getting into the game, right? But until you commit, you're never getting into the game, so you're never going to know your real data that you need to make the adjustments that you need from the game, right? You're trying to make adjustments before you even step on the field. And sometimes it doesn't matter how much you prepare. You just need to get on the field and learn some things, right? Maybe get your teeth kicked in a little bit, maybe fail, and then you got some information to make the adjustments about. Guys, that's what I'm doing this week. I'm starting over. It was time management. You can go back and watch last week. You can watch my video from yesterday on my recap from last week. I went through all this stuff. I did a great series last week. Like, I didn't hit that. You know, I screwed that up, but I got some good content out of it, right? There's a lot of good information if you watch week 55 through 56. Today's 57, but day 51 through 55. There's 5 videos there. It ended up being like a series. And all this just kind of builds momentum on that. So you can check that out if you want. But guys, look, until you commit, you're never gonna have the information you need to make the adjustments that you need to win. Right? We can sit in the corner, we can sit on the sidelines all we want, but at some point you just got to get in the game. The quicker you get in the game, the quicker you're going to succeed. You're never going to succeed sitting on the sideline. So look, guys, that's all I got for you today. Like, if you deal with this fear of perfectionism, which is causing this the root cause of fear of failure, right? Because if you didn't care about being perfect, if you didn't care about going out and making a fool of yourself, if you didn't care about people criticizing you, you wouldn't care if you made a fool of yourself, right? And if you wasn't worried about not adding up to other people's opinions, you wouldn't be worried about going out and making a fool out of yourself. But the truth is, anyone that's ever went out and did anything worthwhile, they had to start and look like a fool, be willing to look like a fool, right? I'm not saying you're going to look like a fool, but I'm saying it's just part of the process, right? Anyone that's great at anything sucked when they first started, right? There may be very few, slim few that just found their perfect calling in life, but for most of us, that's never going to be reality. So, but even then, there's struggle. You just didn't see it. So I'm not going to act like these people never had no struggle, because that's BS, that's a lie, and that's an excuse that people use to never actually get on the field themselves. So guys, if you ever want to actually leave the starting gate, if you ever want to actually get the things you want in life, or if you want to get to the things that you want in life, like, and save 10 years of struggle, right? Just get in the damn game, right? So you can find out better information to make the adjustments you need. Like, that's going to accelerate some of your success. That line right there is going to accelerate some of your success by a decade, maybe 2. It's that simple, guys. Just put yourself in the game. Of course, you're going to go out there and you're going to fail, you're going to fall, you're going to skin your knee, right? You may get trampled. Who knows what's going to happen? That's part of the process, right? That's what's supposed to happen, right? So look, guys, just go out there, get on the field, learn what you need to know, make the adjustments, get back on the field, make the adjustments, get back on the field, make the adjustments, and eventually you're going to win the championship. You cannot keep doing that and not win the championship, right? You just got to keep getting up. Like, regardless how many times you fall down, just keep getting up, right? Get knocked down 9 times, get up 10. It's that simple, right? It's not about how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up. Guys, that's going to make you more successful. It's going to give you more experience. It's going to give you more knowledge. It's also going to make you a better leader because you actually done it and you've actually struggled, so you can actually help other people along the way. Vince Lombardi said, leading by example is not the best way to lead. It's the only way to lead, guys. It's the only way to lead, right? And how do you lead by example? You got to be willing to get on the field, right? You got to be willing to get out there and fail. You got to be willing to get out there and get your teeth kicked in. You got to be willing to get out there and be willing to look like a fool, so you can make the adjustments and figure things out, right? And that's all it is, guys. It's that simple. So look, guys, everything comes back to mindset. Mindset. It's how you're looking at this. You got to reframe the situation. If you're looking at this, you're scared of perfection, right? You got to be perfect. People are going to laugh at you. People are going to make fun of you. All right, we all deal with that. Everyone deals with it. You got to realize that most people that are criticizing are people that's never taken action in the first place, right? The people that are criticizing you because they don't have the guts to do what you're doing. And if you go out there and you succeed, that makes them look at themselves in a different way, and they don't like that. That makes them feel uncomfortable. Those people are always going to be there. It doesn't matter. They're always going to be there. But the reason that they're going to criticize you, right, it's not the people that's been where you are, that are now where you want to go. Those are not the ones criticizing. It's the ones that never got started themselves. That's the loudest critic, right? So anyways, guys, that's all I got for you today. Put yourself on the field, right? Figure out what you need, what adjustments you need to make real time, right? You can't make the adjustments before you ever get on the field. It's never going to work, right? So just put yourself on the field, make the adjustments, and that's how you win. That's what I'm doing this week. Crushed my workout today. I was about 30 minutes late. I got tied up on a phone call, so I was about 30 minutes late on my second workout, right? But I crushed both of them today. I hit the first one at 8 o'clock. I hit the next one at 4:30, right? I should have been on there at 4. So my goal on that second workout is 3:30 to 4. But I hit it at 4:30. So I was 30 minutes off. The only reason I was late on that is because I got tied up on a phone call that I couldn't get off of. So look, guys, that's it. That's all I got for you. Get on the field. If you want to win, get on the field so you can figure out what adjustments you actually need to make and not waste months and years making adjustments that you don't even need to make. All right, guys, see you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be day 58. We're trucking right along, and this will be wrapped up before we know it. It's like, geez, just blink my eyes and it's day 57. So guys, if you like this content, be sure to subscribe. But if you get anything out of this, be sure to subscribe. Leave me a comment. If you don't like what I say, leave me a comment as well. Let's start a conversation. All right, guys, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. All right, that'll help me reach more people with this content, and I sure would appreciate it. Hope you guys have a blessed day.